Divergilus.
Divergilus.
Divergilus. I'm on the verge of an incredible interview with you.
I love it.
My name is Eva Divergilus, and I'm an actor, activist, playwright, and makeup artist. We are at 128 at Virginia Repertory Theater. This is an incredible space that I developed my show in for about a month with my director and collaborator, Lisa Rothe, who is in from New York City. And we were taking the script apart, putting it back together, and developing it. My show is called In My Chair, and it is about radical self-acceptance. It's about the fact that, well, first of all, I'm an actor, but every actor needs a side hustle. So I became a makeup artist, and after doing makeup for over a decade, I started noticing a pattern that within the first 3 seconds of sitting in my makeup chair, almost every woman would apologize to me for the way she looked. So I realized that I did the same thing. I apologized too. So I spoke about this in a TEDx RVA woman talk, and I said I apologize, and I spoke about the women in my chair who also apologized. And the talk went online, it went all around the world. Women from all over the world reached out and said, I apologize too, thank you for saying that. And they wrote their stories, and they wrote to me and sent me their letters, emails, tweets, and messages. And from every letter that I got, I thought, I have to meet this person. I have to meet this woman. And so that's what I did. I physically took my makeup chair around the world, 8 countries, 44 days, and I met so many of these women and had them sit in my chair and share their story, and as well as my own stories woven throughout the show.
8 countries?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So do you see a difference in women's confidence level by the country, or is it?
I wish I did. I wish I did. I wanted to find out what country is doing it right. Are there cultures that are doing it right? Are there religions that are doing it right? Do women have it figured out somewhere? And I see that we're struggling all over. But what I found out from doing this research is so often when I would get together in these groups, I would be giving a talk, sometimes some of the countries, and gathering in groups, women gathering in groups and sharing their struggle, sharing their concerns. It allowed us to air it out and release some of those struggles and fears, because I thought I was alone. A lot of the women thought, I thought I was the only one that felt this way.
That's powerful. To be in a group.
I think that's the key. So often I have mothers coming up to me, what are we going to do about these young girls today, always taking selfies and obsessed with the way they look, and Instagram and all of these social media pressures. And I don't have kids, so any mother out there and parent out there, wonderful. Bless you. But what I found is I think the answer is having them put the phone away and get in groups of other women, other young girls across, cisgender, transgender, female identifying, get together in groups and allies to females so we can discuss our issues, whatever age you are, once a week, once a month, once a year. My mom's in a group called a walking group. She's, these women are in their 70s and 80s. And once a week they get together, they call each other the walkie-talkies, because they talk about their issues, what they're going through, aging, all the issues of getting more mature.
So even women in their 70s still apologize?
Yes. Even after this show, I got letters from women in their 70s, in their 80s. And also from my talk, I heard from women of all ages. In fact, I talk about something in the show, some of the research I did, something called normative discontent. And it is a term that was coined by researchers Rodin, Silberstein, and Steigemüller. And they spoke about, they did all this research on women in their early teens on up into their 90s. And what they found is that women, even into their 90s in the studies, were still never satisfied with the way they looked. So this is something that a lot of women struggle with, and the majority in the study, it doesn't go away. And I thought, I'm going to be in my 90s, I'm going to be free finally, you know, I'm going to not worry. My grandmama used to say, who the hell cares? I'm 86 years old. Who cares if I got a big ass? She used to say that all the time. So I thought I was going to be that way. But turns out the research points that we still struggle. But there's good news. There's ways around it. And I think gathering in groups, talking about it, sharing your story, your struggle, your strengths with people, that makes all the difference too. Childhood, let me tell you.
Yeah, were you
Great.
always like in front of the mirror
Yes.
and performing?
Yes.
Were you one of those kids?
I'm the youngest of three, so some people in my family say you were the mistake. My parents will never, they say you were not a mistake, so I was the third by far. But I don't care. If I'm a mistake, I'm still here, I don't care. So I was always, my family, we have this Italian, we sing opera, we sing Italian songs around as we're doing dishes. My father and I are always harmonizing, my brother and I. So we have this very gregarious family. The whole thing, it started when I was in kindergarten. So I was this free, happy kid. I was, played Army in the woods, grew up in Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains, and then outside of Philadelphia was where I was mostly raised. But I was so free. It was, as kids are. And I remember how it changed, just like that. It was in kindergarten. And the first time I heard a young boy say, "You have a big nose." And I was like, what? How big could it be? I was 6 years old. I mean, I had never heard that before in my life. And that's how everything changed. After that, I realized, I started hearing it more and more, and realized that, I'm a disappointment. My body is a disappointment to the world. And this was the messaging I heard year after year after year. And then as a woman and a young girl, your body is picked apart from your thighs to your butt I remember I was running a race in like 5th grade. I'm running a race, and before we started, we're at the starting line. This boy said, "Everybody look at Eva's butt." And so of course when they go, psh, and they said, "Go," of course, I was thinking about my butt, and I didn't want to run the race. I wanted to be behind everybody. So, these are things we all go through, but this just was the narrative throughout, I think, most women's lives, certainly being picked apart the way you look. So, and then going into acting, that's such a big thing, is the way you look, your weight, fitting into certain archetypes. So that's how it all started for me, is rebelling and finding humor. And I think because of that, I was able to find humor, to become a funny person. Instead of looking at the way I look at how funny, look over here, look at this hand. That was hilarious, right? Thank you, that was very generous of you to laugh.
You need lipstick.
Yeah, I do. There we go. Oh, it's not enough lipstick. Makeup. So that's how it all started. And I just decided to talk about it and not let it be, not be in shame about it anymore. Because I couldn't believe, now I'm a grown up, I'm educated, went to college, I am a smart woman, living, sustaining a life, and I'm still worried about beauty, and I'm still worried about these issues and the way I look and my weight. What wasted energy. So I decided to talk about it.
What kind of feedback have you been getting from people?
Feedback has been incredible from women of all ages, women who have struggled with eating disorders in their 40s, saying, "It has been 21 years. I've had an eating disorder. Thank you for talking about this, so that I'm not so stigmatized and so ashamed about this. And so people are really happy that it's, again, out in the air. Some people, I've gotten a lot of criticism sometimes on the internet. Imagine that. Imagine getting criticized on the internet. Could you imagine? Well, I got one comment under my YouTube talk. Lots of wonderful comments, but one was my worst fear. This guy said, pseudo-scientific fluff leading to the downfall of TED. I was like, thank you. First I was like, ouch. But then I was like, okay, that's
material.
That's my worst fear. And it's totally material, went right in my show, totally. But that's the worst fear, is like, this is fluff. Women's issues are fluff. And in 2013, when I did my TEDx Women Talk, there were no other really body positive movement talks on the internet. At least I hadn't seen it. So it was one of the first out there, and I think that's why it had the response it did. But people were like, you're gonna talk about what in a TEDx talk? And so I think people were ready for it. Women, when they come see a show, it becomes an event. They're excited to talk about this. What's the first word or name that you can think of a woman who speaks up? Don't censor yourself.
Bitch.
There you go. So I did this all around the world. I asked audiences this. The first word every single audience ever said was bitch. Everywhere. And I thought,
what country?
No matter what country, except Ireland. Ireland was the only place I said, don't censor yourself as the first word that or a name for a woman who speaks up in public. And they said, Countess Markowitz, Grace O'Malley, Pirate Queen. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, What? I said, this is the first place no one said the B word first. And they were like, you mean bitch? And I was like, yes, thank you. I said, why do you think that is? And they said, we're strong here. Men are afraid of us. That's it, I'm afraid. So, and they said, yeah, right? However, still, I said, well, then why are 80% of your elected officials still male here? So it's still just interesting. And they were like, crickets. So what I would do, I would ask these women, these audiences, what's the first word or name for a man who speaks up in public? Anybody? Strong. Anybody? Hey, all these men in the room. Strong.
Sam, what do you think of?
First word of a man who speaks up in public. So yeah, leader, strong, all those things. Same thing, positive, all those things, same thing. So I thought, oh my gosh, we just need to claim that word. And so I made women claim the word leader all over the world. Just start saying it over, and I made the audience say, we support you. So in Nevis, I'm a leader, we support you. In Ireland, I'm a leader, we support you. Feminist scholar Naomi Wolf, she wrote this book called The Beauty Myth. It's a great book. I talk about it in my show. And she talks about how the more empowered women become in the world throughout the ages, the more impossible the beauty standards placed on them become. And so how we might be getting really empowered. So even I go through like a brief history of feminism in 3 minutes. I like bam, 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 bam it out, but also with juxtapose it with the corresponding beauty standards. So even in 1920, when women won the right to vote, the first documented trend of dangerous thinness in American women happened. And that happens throughout the ages, so I go through that. And now, here we have the Women's March on Washington. We have the Time's Up and the Me Too Motherfreaka movement. And we're sticking our faces with needles, we're injecting ourselves with dangerous fluids, we wear heels, we cripple ourselves. We bleach our hair, teeth, and behind, and everything. What are we doing? So I'm all about making us more aware of that.
What is the most important message you want women to hear from this story, from your show? if you can narrow it down?
I think the most important message is giving someone the space to open up and to believe in themselves. You know, I took my makeup chair around the world. It's 21 by 44 by 20 inch space. And when I have a woman sit in my chair, I never ask her to tell me your story. I never say that. I just bring the space for her to tell it. And I think if women share their story, and if you bring the space for a woman to share it, I think that is, I hope, what women walk away with. And men. I've been so happy that men have come and been part of the conversation. It's an honor to have everyone involved.
That's great. Do you have any theories on why it is, why women are so down on at least one aspect of their appearance?
I think it's cultural conditioning. I think it's gender norms from the moment we're born. Honk. Yeah, gender norms. It's from the time we're born. Girls are, oh, isn't she pretty? Instead of, aren't you smart? I could tell you're going to be a smart girl. If we are too loud, we're tomboys. So from the moment we're born, one is pretty. We are judged by our looks. Boys are tough, smart, leaders, being boys. So it starts from then. And it's millennia. It's been a millennia of women being judged, that our worth is dictated by our desirability. And our desirabilities have been dictated and judged by men. And I'm done. I'm sick of it. So this doesn't mean you can't wear makeup and heels. I think a lot of women are afraid to say, I'm a feminist, because they think, well, I like heels, I like makeup. You know, people are like, and then they're like, how are you a makeup artist and a feminist? Aren't you going against completely all of these norms? Like, aren't you? I think that as long as it is a choice that you are making, you're empowered. Women who wear makeup are empowered. Women who wear hijabs are empowered. And if it is a choice for them to make. So I would put myself down, and I also did the research. What is that? And that's called preemptive defense. Dr. Cynthia Bulick, she wrote it in a book called that apologetic greeting that women have. When we see each other for the first time, like, hi, so good to see you. Instead of saying, hello, friend, we go, oh God, I'm so sorry you're looking at me like this. I just came from yoga, I'm probably gross. Oh God, I'm sorry. Good to see you. Okay, stop looking at me. Stop.
It's funny but sad.
It
right?
It is. So I noticed myself, I would do it not only in the chair, but I do it in emails at the beginning of sentences. Sorry, this is so late, sorry. I would do it if I was walking on the street, sorry, instead of excuse me. Instead of, could you please, I'd say, oh, sorry to bother you, cameraman. Would you mind putting the camera up higher so you don't see my double chin? So all of these things I started noticing, I would say sorry. And I actually so this normative discontent, there is a character I made out of that, because I figured, okay, if this normative discontent is going to be hanging around with me till I'm 90 years old, and I'm going to be apologizing, feeling bad, then I might as well give it a nickname. So I call her Norma. And she's here with me today. Oh, she's here right now. And then I make everybody say, hi, Norma. And everybody goes, hi, Norma.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I know I look like absolute crap.
Shh, Norma, quiet.
I feel sorry for that cameraman over there. He has to look at your profile.
Okay, Norma, He's fine over there. Are you fine? Is my profile fine? It's okay. Okay, thank you. So Norma is this, I kind of manage my Norma. And a lot of people walk away. I just received the most incredible email 2 days ago from a father who saw my show, and he has 2 twin girls who saw the show, 9 years old, which I was like, this is a little edgy for 9, but he was so happy. He had seen it, and then he brought his girls back. And he said, thank you for giving me the language to talk about Normas at the table when something is bothering them. It's Norma, and shh, quiet down, Norma. So he said, thanks for making me a better dad, which is, you know, what more can you ask for in a show? So giving people the language and just saying, quiet, Norma, quiet. Naomi Wolf, and she talks about this enslavement to attaining the unattainable beauty in America and weight, the beauty myth, and that it's all kind of part of this patriarchal plot to exhaust and distract women to the point of silencing us because we don't want to go on TV and because we're afraid of our double chin. We're afraid we're too much. If we're 10 pounds, it's going to add 10 pounds. I don't want to go and speak up in front of people. Our president might tweet about me, you know, about I have a horse face. I don't want to go. So it silences us, it shames us, and it does a good job of it. So it's about, and I wish it was just people I wish it stopped in college. I wish it wasn't into their 80s, women into their 80s saying, I feel like I'm invisible. Nobody even sees me anymore. That's another thing from my show. Women in their 80s say, yeah, I became invisible.
Well, that's a whole other topic.
It's a whole other topic.
It falls under this umbrella.
Right, because once we are no longer desirable, that's our worth. That's what it's been in this culture. And it's not going anywhere unless we do something, unless we rage against it, we change the culture, stop putting each other down about the way we look, we women. We need to stop that reflex. It's prolonging a very old myth that women are only worth when they're very young and nubile and of a certain way that they look. What's it going to take? A lot of Evas. I like that. A lot of Evas. Yes, I mean, that's why I'm giving out buttons. I'm making women stand up in the theater and say, I'm a leader, and having the audience point and say, we support you. I think that it's going to take more women, 50-50 by 2020, going into politics, going into spaces of leadership and being in charge. I think that's the only way, is women being in charge. And that's not to put men down. Men, no. It's about bringing women up to equal status. And that's what it's going to take, is women speaking up, speaking about these issues, speaking up, speaking out about these issues, not scoobity-bat, scoobity-bat. I was scatting about these issues. That might help too. Scoobity-bat, squat, squeak, squat. Beauty standards, don't say sorry.
Now you're married to an actor?
Yes, I am married to an actor. Scott Wichman is my husband, who is just an amazing actor here in Richmond, but all around the country. Yeah, it is a joy. And his niche is also solo performance. We both are kind of solo performance actors. So he is so incredibly supportive. I also talk about in my show how I had experiences. I have a history of experiencing bad relationships, abuse, assault. And the only reason why I talk about it is because I know that, exactly, because I do that, I know it's one in 3 women have experienced. So, yeah.
Did it help shape you though?
Did it help who I am? Did it help shape me? I'll tell you, it's It's definitely, yes, because I went through, so in 2000 and in the mid 2000s, I was in New York City and I made a phone call to a women's crisis center. And I looked in a phone book. I didn't know what to do. It was one of the worst days of my life. And I dialed it. I didn't know what was going to happen. And there were women on the other side there that were so supportive of me and told me what to do. And I thought, first of all, I can't believe this is happening to me, because I'm the strongest, most outspoken person that I know. I didn't think things like this, assault, happens to people like me, especially with people you trust. This was a person that I looked up to, a wealthy, respectable person on television. So I think I was so shocked by that it did shape so much of myself. First, it was a lot of shame for many years. But since I went on writing this mission, going around the world, writing this play, the Me Too movement happened in the middle of me writing this show. This was not like the show, Me Too movement happened. I was in the middle, so I had to I was having realizations and awakenings all during this last, year and a half. So it has been quite a journey of awakening, and all of these other women saying, me too. And being able to, I thought, what would it be like not to be in shame anymore about this? And I love what the founder of the Me Too movement said, is that Me Too movement is not a women's movement. It is women, it is support for survivors. It is a supportive movement for survivors. It's to say, you're not alone. So that is why I decided to speak about it.
Do you find that, after the show, people coming up to you and saying, thank you, now I want to tell my significant other or whoever?
Yes. I have had women who, I remember I went across the street afterwards with some friends and other people who had just seen the show. A mother-in-law just came over to my table and she said, thank you for your show. My future daughter-in-law just told the table what she had been through, and we all cried at the table. I think it gave a place for people to feel safe, to share their stories. And I think Heidi Schreck said that on the Tonys the other night. It was wonderful. Heidi Schreck wrote What the Constitution Means to Me. It's wonderful. I got to see it on Broadway. And she said, her mom said, the most brave thing that a woman can do is to share her story. And you would think it's like the easiest thing. Just say it. Just say your story. Just tell your story. But we think, no, it's that place of shame. Nobody else wants to hear what I have to say. Who the hell cares what I have to say? But my God, I remember that Me Too in October when that happened. October of 2017, I believe, and that first Me Too that I saw, and I said, oh my God, I'm not alone. I think we've all been complicit. I would love to say that I never said to anyone before, watch out for that guy, or hey, that's just the way that guy is. When there's been those guys to stay away from, we've had that kind of code to each other, to women, and I've been complicit and said that kind of stuff. Well, that's that guy. I know I have. I've blown it so many times in my life. But I think going forward, the more we say time's up, we're not going to deal with this anymore. We're going to report it to HR. We're going to, even though it's unbelievable at the highest level, it's not happening. So more women in office. Our bodies, our choices are being taken away from us. It's all happening. We're being silenced. It's all the misogyny, talking about our looks, silencing us, not being good enough, smart enough. It always goes looks, and then we're bimbos, our intelligence, and our age. Those are like boom, boom, boom. Those three things silence us.
Is it hard to stay optimistic? What gives you optimism?
Doing this. Every time I do an event, every time I'm in a room of women, really anybody, a group of anybody, even men that I talk to, the energy changes. I'm obsessed with connection, of really seeing people and getting them to see me. And every single time, across political spectrums, the room changes and everyone supports one another. We breathe together in a theater. We laugh together in a theater. I make people say each other's names and look around in the theater together. So getting in the room together is what makes such a difference. So yes, I'm optimistic because it happened every single night. People felt it and I saw it. So I just want to keep the conversation going. I'm super optimistic. Where'd I go here? Oh boy.
So Asia, how was
Yeah.
that with their culture?
Asia was, there was a lot of colorism. As soon as I got off the plane, there was a huge billboard for bleaching cream. So dealing with colorism there is huge. I think it's a $64 billion industry is skin bleaching creams. It's huge.
Well, we do tanning creams.
That's what I said.
You know?
I put on tanning cream the night before the interview in Asia, so I'd wake up 4 shades darker. I'm always putting on
I know, I think it makes me look healthier.
Totally. Isn't that funny? Beauty standards are so crazy around the world.
Yeah, we just keep conflicting with each other.
Absolutely.
The grass is always greener.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah. The woman in Florida, when I gave a talk for women over 70, this woman came up to me and she said, Eva, thank you for talking about all of this, and particularly the part, it was so important, the part that woman said, I feel invisible. I thank God, I know I can relate to that. And she said, I love your show and I love your blazer. And I said, oh God, this? It's like $5. I probably smell. And she was like, Eva. A compliment is like a tiny gift that somebody bought especially for you. They saw it, they thought of you, they bought it, they had it specially gift wrapped just for you, and they presented you with the gift. They were so nervous, but they presented it to you. And you open it up, and you go, oh God, this? And you drop kick their gift.
Great analogy.
Eva, don't drop kick my gift. Just say thank you and then close your beautiful lips and smile. So this is full of audience members from Virginia and all around the world. And actually I dropped it on the way here and some gentleman, this guy was like, excuse me, you dropped this. I mean, it could have been filled with like $1 million. And so I said, oh my gosh, sir, that's the Positive Post Pal bag. You have to pick a positive message out. And he was like, all right. He pulled it out and he got, you are enough. And he teared up just right outside here. And he said, oh, I needed to hear that. And I was like, come here, Kendrick, I see you. And so that just happened right before we came in here. So anyway,
Okay. I'm ready.
So
I'm
it
gonna
could be
feel it.
men or women because this is from the play.
Believe in who you are.
Believe in who you are.
I love it. Sing it. The clap.
I think you do believe in who you are. This has been such
Yeah.
a pleasure. You've just made me feel so
Oh, that's
comfortable and
amazing.
wonderful.